Well, hello BookTube, hello book friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel and another video. It's time for my weekly reading update. It's the 1st of February today, so this covers the previous week and the last week of January, and I'll also probably talk a little bit quickly about plans for February. So what have I been reading this week? Well, I've completed 3 books. One that I've been reading for a very long time, and two that I've only had for or was given relatively recently. The first book that I finished this week was one that I was talking about last week, and it's The Count of Monte Cristo. I finished The Count of Monte Cristo this week. We've had several days where the weather's not been particularly nice, including last weekend, and I've managed to get my way through the book, a few late nights in bed reading, and I'm done. And I think my best plan is to do a separate review video on this, because there's a lot I want to say about it. It's a fantastic book. I loved it. I could reread it straight away again, although at 1462 pages, I think I might wait a little bit, but I don't want to leave it too long, because I think if I do, it's a sort of book that I want to read straight away, but if I leave it too long, I probably won't read it for a while. So yeah, I will do a separate review video on this, but suffice to say, I loved it. 5 stars. Would recommend to anybody, really. Yeah, brilliant book. What can I say? And then I needed something a little bit lighter after that, just because I think if I hadn't read something relatively light, I would have gone into a bit of a reading slump, because when you finish a really, really good book that you've really enjoyed, it's very difficult. You can see Sam is back again. It would be difficult to find something that is just as good. But I did find something just as good, but lighter. And it was this. This is a collection of Edward Ardizone's sketches for friends. And it was compiled by Judy Taylor, who was an editor at Bodley Head Publishers, and she is a Ardizone collector and fan, the same as I am. This isn't working, and it's a collection of mostly post-war. Sorry, Edward Ardizone, if you don't know, I think I've mentioned it before, was a war artist, predominantly in the Second World War, and subsequently then a predominantly children's book illustrator. But when he wrote to friends and family, he would very often sketch in those letters, and that would result in kind of illustrated letters. And this is really a collection of those sketches and drawings that he put in those letters. So there are a few, some of the early sketches are predominantly when he was writing home to his, I think predominantly to his children, when he was in Italy or France. But a lot of it is post 1945, so it's letters to friends and family and so on. And I really enjoyed this. This was just what I needed after reading The Count of Monte Cristo. It's a shame in a way that a lot of this, is probably pencil or ink drawings, so a lot of it's black and white. But there are some watercolor. I'm trying to find them. Yes, there are some watercolor drawings as well. So Yeah, I enjoyed this. Really good. And then I went on to read The Notebook, A History of Thinking on Paper by Roland Allen. Um, I enjoyed this. It was good. It- I'm not sure um, every chapter was for me really. So it's kind of goes through um, sort of the history notebooks. So from very early, I think the earliest is sort of 1000 BC when notebooks were effectively wax tablets, um, and right the way up to modern day. The revival of Moleskine, and so on. So it has some really interesting things that are really interesting to me, like bits about Darwin's naturalists' notebooks, notebooks on authors, diaries and journals, which is something that I'm very interested in. But there were bits that I think they weren't for me. They might be might be of interest to lots of other people. So it's pretty comprehensive, I have to say. But yeah, there's bits of it that maybe weren't quite as I wasn't quite as drawn to as you or somebody else might be. So yeah, I still enjoyed it though. Good read. Um, and then kind of this is pushing into February now. So February is Holmes is Where the Heart Is, and my plan is to read as much Sherlock Holmes as I can, and I'm going to start with The Hound of the Baskervilles because I've been rereading Sherlock Holmes in kind of the order that they were published, so back from A Study in Scarlet, and I've reached The Hound of the Baskervilles is the next book that I would read in that sequence. And it will also tie in nicely with the first week of Holmes is Where the Heart Is, which is to read Sherlock Holmes novels. There is also a group read, which is a pastiche, and that is the Fifth Heart by Dan Simmons. And I thought, as I had a few days left of January, I'd steal a bit of a because it's quite a big book. My copy is over 600 pages, nearly 700 pages, in fact. So I thought I would make a start on this because otherwise, I think trying to read this in a week, the sort of third week is pastiche fiction. I think I would struggle. So I thought I would, start, make a start, and then I can dip into it between other Sherlock Holmes stories. However, I'm not enjoying this. Um, it's I'm only 50 pages in, so this is a bit of an early judgment, but I'm not enjoying it. It fills the period between the memoirs of Sherlock Holmes and the return of Sherlock Holmes, where Holmes has seemingly been killed at the Reichenbach Falls after a fight with Professor Moriarty. Now, we know that he didn't die, and this is set in that intervening period. And I just I don't like the way Holmes is being portrayed in this at the moment. I think there's obviously some confusion in Holmes's mental state. Is he dead? There's also some sort of confusion between whether he is Sherlock Holmes, a real person, or Sherlock Holmes, a fictional character. And I just say I'm only 50 pages in. Technically, 100 pages minus my age, and I'm not enjoying it. I would normally DNF a book. But I think I'm going to keep going, just because I've heard lots of people speak quite highly of the book. So maybe I am being a little bit harsh, but I am struggling with it. I am. I think, given that it's now the first, I'm going to pick up The Hound of the Baskervilles and read that, and then come back to this in a couple of days. So we'll see. I don't like DNFing books. I kind of feel that it might just not be the right time to read it or read a particular book. So I don't tend to DNF them. I tend to put them to one side and come back to them and another time and see if my thoughts have changed. Maybe that's what I need to do with this. I know a lot of people are reading this. I'm sorry if I'm putting you off. But yeah, it's not working for me at the moment. So that's it for my reading kind of update for the week. I've got a tag video, I hope, coming out on Tuesday, if I can whittle down my choices for the to answer the prompts. And then hopefully I'll try and get a review of the Count of Monte Cristo out as well, if I can, but that might be pushing it a bit. Next week's looking quite busy. So if you have been, thank you for watching, and I will speak to you again soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.